Do you struggle to maintain weight loss but desperately want to feel good in your own skin, confident in your clothes, and improve your overall health? If so, you're home. Hey, friends! Welcome back to another episode of the More Than a Number podcast. I have a very special episode for you. Actually, two episodes. Today's is part one of an interview I did with my old friend Nick. Nick and his wife Tina and I all kind of met through a mutual friend many, many moons ago, not to age us. And we connected a lot because Nick and Tina are a part of our crew, the longtime weight strugglers. And actually, way back when I was just a little baby dietitian, I worked with Nick and Tina on improving their nutrition and health. It's been quite a few years since I've seen them, so when I received a text message from Nick recently, I was so pleasantly surprised and ecstatic for them. He messaged me some pictures of them and shared that he's lost over 250 pounds and she's lost over 110 pounds. He said he wanted to share because they still remember and implement some of the things that I helped them with so many years ago, which is making me emotional even right now to say. So, after I ugly cried, I asked him if he would be willing to share their story with all of us here on the podcast. So we did, and it's amazing. I know you guys are going to be so inspired by them. And by the way, we ended up talking for so long that I actually had to break it up into these two episodes. Just call me Joe Rogan. So, without further ado, here is part one of my conversation with my friend Nick. Hey, Nick, thanks so much for being here. Welcome to your podcast debut.
Well, I appreciate the welcome. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's great seeing you. I haven't seen you in quite some time, so I'm looking forward to the
I
conversation.
No, I was so excited when you messaged me and just so excited for you guys and can't wait to get into all the details that I don't even know yet. So I can't wait to get into it. So let's give everybody just kind of like an overall background of your story. Have you always struggled with weight? If not, when did it start? How has it affected your life? Just give us the deets on like your weight history prior to this amazing transformation.
Okay. As far as I can remember, I've always struggled with weight. I was always the bigger kid in class. Never in good shape whatsoever. I honestly don't know when it began. If it was just something that I just kind of grew into all those years. I don't know. But I can remember as early as 7, 8 years old that, I knew I was, I guess bigger or heavier than other kids my age. But I never realized, I guess, how bad it was until there was one very specific moment that, when you sent me this question, I really thought about. And I'll never forget it. I was in Boy Scouts, like maybe six, no, it's probably about 8 years old, if I had to guess. And, I remember we were in a parking lot waiting to go on like this whole field trip thing, and my mom was talking to another friend's mom, and I heard them talking, and my mom happened to tell the mother how much I weighed at that point, which I think was, I don't know, like 100 pounds or something. And I didn't think anything of it until the mother said, "Oh my God, I didn't realize it was that bad." And then I was like, "Wait a minute. Oh my God,
Oh,
is something wrong?" So it was kind of at that point, like I pinpointed that, yeah, I guess I am, heavier than the rest of the kids. Um, but yeah, all through, you know, elementary school, high school, I was usually one of the bigger kids in class. I never let it try to hold me back at all. I tried to do all the things that the kids did, play sports. I played basketball all the time. And it was always kind of weird to me because, even as a young kid, people will talk about exercise and, losing weight. And here I am running around playing basketball for hours on end, almost every single day. And I never seemed to get any smaller. It was really confusing. Um, but I mean, yeah, just, going into my adulthood, it was all the same thing. I was always one of the heaviest people around. Anytime I hung out with people, uh, without a doubt, I was the biggest guy there. So, I mean, it definitely had a lot of issues, a lot of mental things to deal with and whatnot. Uh, you know, my, I think I've always been kind of an emotional eater as well. Um, I never realized that until I don't know, maybe 10 years ago when I started to realize that a lot of times food was almost like a medicine kind of thing, where if I was feeling, really crappy, really down, um, I would treat it the same way I would treat like a cold. You need medicine to get better. So whenever I felt down, I thought, oh, well, you feed a cold, why not feed this? And I just do that all the time. And, I guess just throughout the years, it got way out of control, way to the point where I had no idea what was going on anymore. I had no idea how I got to this point, no idea how to get anywhere from this point. I had no idea even where to start with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't ever remember a time when I was not, like, hyper aware of the fact that I was bigger than I was supposed to be, and all the kids, like you said, and, always have been completely insecure about my body, so much so that I mean, I really, like, never thought that I would ever find love, and it kinda seemed like a self-fulfilling prophecy because when I had surgery, I kind of expected that I was gonna find my husband, like, in that first year or 2 after surgery, and a couple decades later, I was still single. But God has been, really working in overdrive for the last couple of years to help me even get to that point of being at peace with my body even now. Hence the name of the podcast, More Than a Number, that, we have to come to terms with the fact that our weight is not our worth. And thankfully, now I have a wonderful boyfriend who has slowly been breaking down those insecurities and showing me that love is so much deeper than what that stupid scale says.
Right.
So tell us about your love story with your beautiful wife,
Oh
Tina.
God.
How long have you been together? How did food, because, we hear all the time we call it love chub, like when
Right.
people start dating, you go out to eat a lot, and so a lot of people do gain weight. How did food and or weight kind of factor into the relationship? What are the deets on your weight struggles as a union, a married couple?
So Tina and I have been together now 25 years.
Oh my
Um,
goodness, that's
yeah,
amazing.
crazy, right? 25 years. We just passed our 20-year anniversary this past May. Um, Crazy to think about that.
Happy
Yeah,
anniversary.
thank you. Let's see, now I'm already gonna get emotional. You're killing me already. I I can't.
Did you put tissues up?
I did.
Good.
It's tough. I, I can't talk about Tina without getting emotional because like ah she's my everything. Like she really
Oh,
is. I met her when I was at a pretty low point. Um, I wasn't, looking for anybody. I didn't want to look for anybody. It's kind of weird when we met each other. We were both actually dating somebody else, and uh, I was in an unhealthy relationship. Uh, I never try to speak poorly of her at all because I do think she was a good person. But she had her own demons that she was battling, family issues and everything, and it kind of put such a huge stress on the relationship that we had. So, I mean, we were together for 7 years, and
wow.
after say about 4 years, 5 years, it got really rocky. her grandparents were, her everything. And they were in a car accident, they passed, so it really shook her whole world. Um, you know, I I feel I hope I was supportive, um, but it was tough. Even thinking about it now, it upsets me because, you know, people talk about exes and are like, oh, they're a total person. That's why we're not together anymore. She had her issues. I had my issues. I wish her the best and everything, but
You were
it was,
young too.
yeah, yeah. We met senior year of high school.
Mm.
So I mean, you're talking back in '97. It's probably before you were born, if I had to guess.
What do you mean? You're only a couple years older than me.
Yeah, but still older. Um, but anyway, so the relationship got really rocky really fast, and I needed like time away every once in a while. Like we weren't even like living in the same room, like sleeping in the same room or whatever. It just got ugly, and we both kind of drifted apart a lot. I would go up and hang out with friends that I knew there in Massachusetts. Some kids I went to high school with went to college up there, and I would go up there, you know, every other weekend just to get away. It was a 5 hour car ride. It was just worth it to, I guess, get some, like, I don't want to say free time or alone time, but it was just I needed to get away.
Yeah.
Um, so I would start hanging out with them. They worked at this boys and girls club up in Massachusetts, and we would all hang out together, party. That's where I met Tina and her then boyfriend. And we talked. Tina and I kind of hit it off. We both had a similar sense of humor. Um, so, cut to maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 months later, I'm up there hanging out with them. And she had kept mentioning that, when she goes to college, she wants to kind of leave the state. She wants to, go somewhere else, kind of get away from her family and kind of be independent. And I remember we were talking one day and we were talking about colleges down in New Jersey, was where I was living. And, she made plans to come down and visit some colleges to see if it would work out, to see if she'd want to go to school there. Well, about a month before her and her mom were supposed to come down, I had, completely broken up with my ex at that point. I was living alone, nobody around, and I really wasn't in the mindset to even think about dating anybody at all. Uh, she had broken up with her boyfriend maybe a month before that, if I had to guess. So her and her mom came down, and I basically drove them around to the colleges, hung out with them, had dinner with them, and we got like really, really close. And it was after that point that we basically started dating. Um, I honestly don't even know how we started dating. I think we just kept hanging out with each other nonstop, and we just figured, well, I guess we're gonna see each other this much. I guess we're dating at this point.
That's
So,
so sweet.
yeah, when she was coming down, because she made up her mind to move to New Jersey and go to college. So, we had talked about it. I mean, we kind of figured we were dating at that point. So she moved in with me, and that was the start of everything. Um, so back then, I couldn't even begin to tell you how much I weighed. Um, but I know she had always struggled with her weight as well, and we had talked about that before. Uh, if you look at pictures of her as a child, she was a chubby little baby and chubby little
Mm.
child, like super cute. Um, so when she was about, God, how old was she? I think she was like 22 when we started dating. Um, she had worked really, really hard. I think she was going to Weight Watchers, doing things like that, and she had lost a good amount of weight. She was very, very healthy at that point. And then she comes down to New Jersey, and I've always felt bad about this because I've always kind of blamed myself for this. But like we weren't we had like no money. We were dead broke. So, we could never buy, decent food. It was always the cheapest thing imaginable. And I hate using that as an excuse because even if you're kind of broke and poor, there's still healthier options than what people go and buy. I totally understand that at this point now. But throughout the years, we both kind of yo-yoed nonstop. We would always support each other and always get each other kind of on track. But no matter how much support we gave each other or we got from other people, I think it was just the way we're approaching trying to lose weight that would constantly just ultimately fail every single time. It would either fail in a month, a week, maybe 6 months, maybe even a year, but it would ultimately fail every single time. And looking back at it now, I honestly believe it was just all mental. Every single part of it was mental. Now that we're in a better position and we're looking at things clearly, our mindsets towards everything has completely changed. To know where we were, like 2.5 years ago to where we are now, it's such an incredible change. And it stinks because we talked about it all the time. I I'm pretty sure it was my fault if I had to guess, but we barely ever left the house. It got to a point where I I'm not a fan of being around a lot of people to begin with. I've always been like that. I'm pretty sure a part of it is because, my weight, my size, it's not always easy to get around people. You can get people that stare at you and make comments. Um, I have a running joke that I just don't like people, and which is why I don't want to go out anywhere. I just don't want to be around anybody. I mean, it's partially true, but um, it it's mostly just, I guess feeling ashamed and, not wanting to be out there. I feel like every time I went out there in public that I had this huge spotlight shine on me the entire time I was out there. And it's funny too because now that I've lost, 250 pounds, I know I look completely different, but I still feel like I got that spotlight on me everywhere I go. And I tell Tina this all the time that I still feel like that guy. Like I still feel like I am, 250 pounds heavier. Um, I I walk around. It's so funny. Like I see this mainly at work, but when I'm like walking around people, I'm always like really cautious and looking. Is there enough room to fit through there? Am I going to hit them? And once I do it, I realize, oh, I have plenty of room. But I still can't get out of my head. I still constantly think that I'm still 250 pounds heavier, and it just everything worries me nonstop. It's really weird. Do you ever have that? Like, when
A hundred
now that you
percent.
lost that? Yeah, right?
100%. And I wish on everything that I could tell you that that goes away at some point. But like how you were saying, it's all mental. It
Yeah.
is, it really is. And it is a choice every day, sometimes every minute. We all have there's definitely like good days where I feel like, all right, I'm feeling myself. I look good today. Like we look good, whatever. And then there's other days where you just catch yourself in the mirror one way or you're putting clothes on and it's just, you know, you have to train yourself to literally take those thoughts and flip them. I was actually just talking to somebody last month who spoke to my bariatric group. She's another dietitian and she was talking to our group at the hospital and she was saying a way that you can sort of help that. And I kind of just did this over the years, learning the hard way, but she uses this a lot. And I told her I'm stealing it for my clients too, is the second that thought pops into your head about whether it's your stomach or for me, it's like my thighs, my butt, like all of those areas that we're like all of a sudden self-conscious about, you flip it into gratitude and thank it for the function that it's doing for your body. Take all of the vanity out of it and, thank you, legs, for carrying me around today, for making me able to work this 8-hour shift or whatever your shift is. Thank you, stomach, for responding to all of the changes that I have made in my diet and for my metabolism working so well and getting me to this point. Like just flip it into gratitude. And I'm not going to lie and say, poof, all of a sudden you're having a great day and that thought or those feelings go away, but it definitely helps.
I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I gotta do something. Like I constantly, it's just, it's so weird. You know what it feels like as somebody who's done it before. People who might be listening who have never done it before don't know how it feels, but I, I constantly think about, the people that you hear, um, like, like almost like, bulimic or anorexic people who are like,
Mhm.
no matter how thin they are, no matter how fit they are, they always see themselves as like an overweight, unhealthy person. And that's
Mhm.
just, I try so hard not to see that. But yeah, unfortunately, honestly, if this was the worst thing, I'm not that upset about it. But it's just always that thing stuck in the back of my head. But
Yeah.
luckily I've got, great people around me that constantly remind me, like, wow, you lost like an unhealthy person. Like
Right.
you lost 250 pounds. There's people out there that are 250 pounds that are considered to be overweight, and you lost that whole person. Like that's
Yeah.
something to be, very proud of, which I am. And I actually I tell them all the time, like, trust me, like I am very, very proud, but I still just always have that in the back of my head.
Yeah, and I don't wanna make it seem like it's horrible forever. Like, it definitely gets better, over time, the more you get used to your body now, but still can kind of creep up is what I mean over time.
Yeah.
So I promise it will get better and you feel more confident in your own skin over time, you know? So you'll learn the ways and things that help you and how you can kind of snap yourself out of that. But it is very, very common for people who have massive weight loss to still have that sort of dysmorphia. There's an actual legitimate diagnosis of body dysmorphia, but I think there's definitely a spectrum. And a lot of people, whether they are at a point where it's a diagnosable condition, maybe not, but a lot of us can be totally on the spectrum and it can certainly ruin your day if you let it, but you have to find the ways to not let it.
The one thing that's been helping me is every time that something like that happens and I like realize that it's not an issue, like for the longest time, being my weight, and which we haven't said. So my uh at my top weight, when I realized that, there was a major issue, I got to really get something going on here. I was 636 pounds. And at that weight, like everywhere you go, um, you have to plan everything out. You know, where am I going to go? What seating is going to be available?
Yeah.
Um, or do the chairs have arms? Is that going to be a problem? Are they flimsy chairs? Like all these crazy things that, people never think they have to think about. I'm thinking about on a daily basis. And like now when I walk into a room, like for instance, I just had to go to get an ultrasound on my kidneys this morning, and I walked to the waiting room, and I've been there before, but every single chair has arms in it, and every time I walk in there and I see it, I'm like, ooh, I don't know. And then I go over and I sit down, and it's actually comfortable. It's roomy. It's good.
Mhm.
And I always treat those as like little self victories. Like, in my mind, maybe I feel like that guy, but I'm obviously not that guy. And like I try to do that with everything I do. When I have to squeeze past somebody and I'm freaking out about it for that split second, but then I squeeze past them and there's plenty of space in between us. I'm like, damn, man, that's awesome. 2 years ago, I would have been rubbing all up against this person. It would have been super awkward,
Mhm.
but now everything is good.
Yeah. We call those non-scale victories. And I find that they are so much more powerful than every time you step on the scale calculating, how many pounds you lost because that, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. Unless you've walked in those shoes, you cannot understand the crushing overwhelm and anxiety of going to new places where
Yeah.
you're not sure what the situation is going to be, what the chair that was always my thing too, was I was so petrified that I was going to sit on a chair and it was going to break in front of the other people and I would be absolutely mortified. and, those kind of things, the airplane, trying
Hmm.
to buckle the airplane seat, just normal everyday life, every single thing. Putting your socks on, your shoes on, getting dressed, just everything is harder and a lot of times painful mentally and physically.
Oh, absolutely.
And, no, if you have not been to that point, you can't understand it. So when you go through the process of massive weight loss like that, it is the littlest things that start to get better that you're like, this is the greatest.
100%.
Because I think we get kind of comfortable with our uncomfortability. We just sort of deal when we're in that place. And over time, we don't really realize that this is hard anymore. We think it's normal the way that this
Mhm.
feels and the pain and all of those things. So when it starts to come off and those things start to get easier, it's like, whoa, I cannot
Yeah.
believe that for so many years I was dealing with this. If I could give you any encouragement, it would be like you gotta just absolutely celebrate every single one of those non-scale victories. And when you do have those moments where things start to get a little wonky in your head and you're having a day where you still kind of see yourself or feel like you were 250 pounds ago, then you got to remember, um, no, sir. I just walked up, a flight of stairs and wasn't winded. I just did whatever you do at work and did not feel like I was out of breath. All of those things, those are the best. So you have to
Yeah,
like
I love
really
those.
cherish that. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love all of this so much. So I wanted to kind of get into your relationship, of course, as it relates to nutrition and weight and everything with Tina, because I cannot even explain to you how heartbroken I get for my clients that I see who are married or even just, in a relationship in general, and their partner is not supportive. It is wild to me how many people stay in relationships that are and in my view toxic, where the partner not only is not supportive but is downright sabotaging their efforts. They either struggle with the disease of obesity as well, and they haven't come to the point where they're ready to make those changes. And I think in a lot of cases it's very innocent in a sense that, like, it's not intentional. They're not waking up every day going like, oh, I'm gonna make my wife stay miserable today, or I'm gonna, I know she wanted to have the grilled chicken and broccoli tonight, but I'm gonna bring home a pizza and make her eat that and screw up her diet or whatever. It may happen. I think it does happen, actually, unfortunately, but that's not always the case. And I think most times when you are in a relationship like that, it is sort of innocent in the sense that it's not intentional, but it is heartbreaking because it's not that they're not making progress, it's that they're being like low-key sabotaged by the other people in their house. And it may even be like not even necessarily a spouse. Sometimes it's kids or whoever else lives in the home and shares a kitchen with them. And if you can't cheer on the person that you claim that you love, if you don't want to eat the way that they do or make the changes that they're making, then hey, that's fine. You do whatever you want to do. But when it comes to not being supportive of the partner and their efforts and being at least open to compromise on what's allowed in the house, how you go about um your grocery shopping and going out to eat, date nights, like all of those things. If you're just not even willing to be supportive in any way, it is just awful to me. It's so awful. And I wish I could say it's once in a while, but it is so often. And it literally breaks my heart. So I went from like praying for, I just want a good man to be my husband, to now it's so important to me that yes, I want him to be a good person, but I also want him to prioritize his health and wellness. And I want that to be an important thing for him as well. So that we can support each other. In the gym in the mornings, there's a few different married couples and they're always working out. It's so cute. I'm like, I wish everybody was more supportive like this. So for you and Tina, which by the way, Tina is not on camera because she does not love the spotlight. So we'll just
No,
let
she does
our
not.
we'll let the people listening and watching know that's why she is not on camera with us. But she has, in fact, given us her blessing to talk about her and everything. So tell us a little bit about Tina. Get your tissues out, and how has weight affected, if weight has affected your marriage, either positively or negatively?
Well, I I want to touch on one point real quick that, you were just talking about married couple or just couples in general. Uh, I truly believe that I am a sabotager, like 100%, 100%.
Hi, my
Uh,
name is Nick. I am a
yeah,
sabotager.
100%. So I I want to say I don't do it on purpose, but I do kind of do it on purpose. But I also want to say I think it's coming from a decent place, but obviously not. But whatever. No caveats. Okay, here it is. So I have a very hard time saying no to her. That's all it is. I want her to have everything. Um, whatever it is, I don't care. We talk all the time. She she is the most infuriating person to buy gifts for because she will never tell you what she wants. So whenever she mentions anything, I'm like, oh, let's go get it. Let's go get it right now. I don't care. We'll figure it out. I don't care if we got to save up for a month or whatever. Let's get it. We'll figure it out. I want to do this. Um, so when it comes to, when we're trying to be healthy and we're dieting or whatever, um, she's also kind of an emotional eater. She's a stress eater. So she's having a really crap day and I'm trying to be supportive and, be there for her. And, it always comes up. Oh, I just want like chocolate. I just want like a cake or something. I just feel so awful. Me being the sabotage guy here, I immediately jump in and go, look, man, it's not gonna kill you. Just, get one thing. It's not gonna hurt you. It's fine. If you want, we can order a pizza tonight or something. It's fine.
You
Um,
twisted my arm.
yeah, 100%, 100%. So I've always, looking back at it now, I definitely feel, kind of bad about that because if if I was being supportive in a different kind of way, maybe I could have change the situation, said, I never having a bad day. Let's talk it out. Let's figure it out together. And then, we'll go do this. We'll, make our salads, we'll talk about it, eat our salad or whatever. Um, but I never did that. I mean, we do it now, but I never did that in the past. So I definitely feel like I was doing a whole lot of sabotaging. Um, again, caveat, I think it came from a place of love, but again, still sabotaging. Um, but yeah, so luckily, honestly, other than a couple little, all out brawls and fights and whatnot, we've always had a really good relationship. There's no way of saying that, we don't argue or we don't get into bad spots. I am a terrible person. I am such a terrible person. I own it. Like when we get into an argument, like at a certain point, I'm just gonna shut down and I'm not gonna talk to her. And like we'll go 2 or 3 days without barely speaking to each other at all. And it's my fault. Like I don't speak. And then it's kind of childish, but then when I'm ready to speak or I'm just so tired of not speaking, I'll just text her or when I come home one day, I'll be like, are you gonna apologize or what? And then she'll apologize, I'll apologize, and then we're good to go again. Like nothing ever happened. It's the childish thing. Like, I know it is. I'm pushing 50 years old at this point, and it's the most immature thing ever, but it works for us, so I don't care. Um, but yeah, we've always had a good relationship. We've always been supportive of each other. But I do know that some of our more trying times, were usually because of our health. Um, when I first met Tina, she was very outgoing. She loved hanging out with people. She loved going out to restaurants or, going over to people's houses and having a good time. And slowly but surely, we kind of got away from that. And I do feel that a lot of that was because of me. And Tina started to feel the same way I did. Um, I kind of asked her this question when we are going over the nose, and she really didn't kind of give me an answer on it. But I do feel that she also didn't really love being out in public, at the size she was. Um, Interestingly enough, by the way, the one picture I sent you of her before and after, I swear on all that is holy that I do not remember her being that size. And she was that size for a while, but I do not remember ever seeing her that size. And it shocked me when she sent me that picture, like we are going through pictures. When I sent it to me, I was like, dude, I don't, no way. No, this is just a bad picture. Like, there's no way you were that size.
Yeah.
Um, but I do know that she was uncomfortable doing a lot of things, having to walk far distances and everything like that. So at a certain point, we kind of stopped leaving the house. We Everything we did inside the house. Vacations just spent in the house. We didn't travel anywhere. We didn't go anywhere because, traveling at my size was never easy. You mentioned, airplanes. I've been on a plane once and it was extremely uncomfortable. Even with the seatbelt extender, it really didn't fit well. I was just miserable, and it was only like a 2-hour flight. So we don't travel anywhere, or we didn't travel anywhere. So every waking moment that we were not working, we were just in the living room watching TV, just melting our minds with this garbage. Um, and it took its toll. We would not like fight, but we would get in like these stupid little arguments like several times a day whenever we're on vacation. And it was always the same thing. And it's kind of funny when I think about it now, because ironic, because what I would constantly complain about is, "Uh, all we do is sit in this house. We're just stuck in this house. We don't do anything. We don't go anywhere. We're just stuck in this house." Meanwhile, I'm 90% of the reason why we're not leaving the house. I hate to leave in the house, but when you're just doing it nonstop, you start to think about it. And I guess I just hated it, but I couldn't get myself to go out and do things. And when we did go out and do things, by the time I got home, I was so miserable. I was in pain. My hips, my knees, my ankles, everything hurt. We live in Florida. It's 107 degrees out there pretty much every single day, and like I'm drenched in sweat. I would get rashes. Like I hated every part of it. And, because of that, like I said, we would go through little tough times, but we've always supported each other. We've always, gotten ourselves out of that, funk that we were in, which is amazing because I don't know that I would have that with somebody else. She's, God damn it, she's awesome. She- I can't, she's awesome. She literally is the best part of me, 100%.
Oh
I,
my
uh,
God, you're gonna make me cry.
well, now you got that too, and you're gonna be happy too. So, but yeah, I
Oh,
honestly
that's
don't
so
know.
sweet.
I don't know where I'd be without her. I know I do know where I'd be without her. Probably pushing 700 pounds without her, because she's the one that forced me to go see a doctor. I hated
Good.
doctors. Absolutely hated doctors. Um, every time I went to a doctor, it was the same thing. I could go there for, a broken leg, and they'd be like, "Well, you just got to lose a little weight there." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but can we address the bone sticking out of my thigh here? Like, can we please move on a little bit?" Um, so I never went to doctors. I completely stopped going to doctors. Anytime I had a cold or whatever, I just go to an MD now, or when telehealth became a thing, I would use that. But I never went to doctors. Uh, and then it was back in 2024. I got this crazy bad pain in my back. It was so bad I couldn't stand it. Ended up going to the hospital, had kidney stone, and it was that point I got on the scale, because scales I have in the house, they don't go up that high. I knew I was over 550 pounds because that's how high the scale went. And it had been a while since I was able to use a scale. Um, so when I went to the hospital, they weighed me, and I'll never forget this. So it was in kilograms, and I had no
Mm.
idea what that was. So when I first jumped on the scale, I believe I remember correctly, it was like 200 and something. And I'm like, well, that ain't right. I was like, that maybe like one of my legs. Like, I don't know what this is. And then I realized it was kilograms. And I remember laying in the bed in the emergency room, and I took out my phone and I started doing the conversion, how many pounds is this? And it came up 636 pounds. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Um, Tina and I, one of our guilty pleasures back then was we would watch the show 600 Pound Life. And, we would watch it all the time. And I would always think to myself, well, you know what? At least I'm not 600 pounds. And now I was well past it, and it messed me up. And then on top of that, when I was in the hospital, um, all the doctors, nurses, everybody I dealt with, they were amazing. Um, but there's always those situations like, this, I believe a nurse came in, and, she was asking about the weight and everything. And I told her, how much I weighed there and everything. And so then she brings up a concern that I didn't even think about at this point, but I'm like, oh my God. So they wanted to do a CAT scan and, see what's going on, if it is a kidney stone or whatever at that point. And, she had to go back and see what the weight limit on the machine was and everything. And luckily, I was under that weight limit, but I just kept thinking about that point. Um, it was by far the worst pain I ever felt in my life, and I really thought something was majorly wrong. I mean, it was just kidney stone, but, like, I thought something really bad was happening, and I kept thinking to myself, "What about if I was too heavy for the machine? What next? What do I do?" And I don't know, just something at that moment really clicked, and I went home, and a week later, the kidney stone pain was all gone, and I just really started making a lot of changes. Um, and I changed everything. But it was about a month later that Tina really talked to me about seeing a doctor. I think at that point I started losing weight on my own, and I think when I was going to see this new doctor, I lost probably close to about 70 pounds at that point. And I
Wow.
was feeling good. I was so happy that, I did it on my own. I didn't, have a doctor. I didn't really have a plan. I just started eating a lot less. And when I would eat, I would, try to make better decisions and whatnot. And she kept saying, you've lost like 60 pounds, but you keep saying you still feel terrible. I'm like, I do. I'm constantly tired. I can't get out of bed and like walk to the living room without just feeling like tired. Like not even just, like out of breath or anything. I mean, that used to happen all the time too, but like I I would get up, I would come out of the bedroom, go sit down in the living room, and I could literally just like fall right back asleep. No matter how much I
Mm.
slept, I was just exhausted all the time. I felt depressed all the time. And I literally, I kept telling Tina, I'm like, do you think I'm depressed? Like, is this what like depression feels like? People say that, when they're depressed, they feel tired. They just have no motivation. Do you think I'm depressed? And she goes, I don't know. You seem pretty happy. Like, you laugh all the time. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. And she goes, well, I know you don't like doing it, but why don't you go see a doctor? I'm like, no, I don't want to go see a doctor. I don't like them. I've never had a good experience. I don't want to go. And she goes, look, go see a doctor. If you don't like them, go to a different one. I'm like, you know what? I say, you know what? If you want me to go see a doctor so bad, then you find a doctor for me, and we'll do this. And she gave me a couple of names, and I started, Google researching them, reading all the reviews, like, I was buying a toaster off Amazon, just trying to figure out, just trying to figure out like what kind of a doctor is this? What are people saying? And then, funny enough, this is kind of embarrassing to think about now, but the reason I chose this doctor was one, she had really good reviews. Uh, but I went on the photos that they posted, and I saw their waiting room, and their chairs didn't have arms, and I was like, score!
Ugh,
I'm gonna try this one. I'm gonna go this one. So
amazing.
I called. And it was so funny. We're
Wow.
sitting right in this kitchen, and Tina was sitting next to me, and she goes, "Well, you should call now because you're probably not going to get an appointment for a couple of months. Like, it's been bad." I'm like, "All right." So I called, and sure enough, they said, the doctor, I guess her practice, she goes, the main person, all booked up. Can't get an appointment for, like 2 months. I'm like, all right, whatever. Thinking in the back of my head, I'm happy about this because I really don't want to go anyway. I'm like, now I got 2 more months to prepare. And then the receptionist goes, "Well, how would you feel about seeing a nurse practitioner?" And I'm like, "I don't know what that is." So I look at Tina, and she goes, "Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, do that." I'm like, "All right." I say, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll see a nurse practitioner." And she goes, "Okay, you have an appointment tomorrow." I'm like, "Tomorrow?" I was like, "No." I'm like, "What?" And I remember looking right at Tina with the nastiest snarl on my face. I was so mad. I thought I had like months to prepare, and now I'm literally going tomorrow. I'm like, "Oh, you got to be
Mhm.
kidding me." I dreaded that so much. From the moment I hung up that phone to the moment I got to that doctor's office, my stomach was uneasy. I probably broke out in flop sweats nonstop. I did not want to be there. My heart was racing the whole time. And honestly, it's been wonderful. Uh, this Dr. Robin, she's amazing. She comes in, I tell her, "Look, I'm gonna try not to be disrespectful, but I hate doctors. Every experience I've had with doctors has not been good. I'm trying to be healthy. I've lost, 60 pounds. I want to keep going. I don't know where to begin. Like, what are we doing?" And she's like, dude, she was so great. She like sat down. We talked for probably an hour, and she was amazing. We barely talked about my weight, and it was the greatest thing in the world. Um, we talked about how I felt, which that's all I wanted. I kept telling him, like, "Yeah, I know I have lots of weight to lose. I get it, but I feel like garbage. Like something's got to be wrong. Like I, I'm drinking energy drinks nonstop just because I don't know how else to stay awake." I was like, something seems off." And yeah, so she did all these tests, and it came back that my testosterone was like non-existent. She said that they treat for anything under 300. The first time we did it, it was 70. And then I guess for insurance reasons, you got to do two tests to
Mhm.
show that it's still low before insurance will cover testosterone, which I don't know. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, but yeah, so I went back
A
again for
lot of
more blood
things are
work.
crazy in healthcare.
It's nuts. We went back, we did another thing of blood work. Um, and it was even lower. It was 62 at that point. And so she got me prescribed the shots. So once a week, actually today, I'm going to be getting a shot today. Uh, Tina gets to stab me in the arm. Literally the worst part of my week. This is so bad. It's the worst part of the week for both of us. She hates doing it. I hate having it done. It's terrible. But like, no joke, from the time I started those shots, maybe a month in, I felt incredible. Um, I had so much energy. Uh, I was doing things that I never thought I would do before. I would get up, and instead of like going right to the couch or the chair, I'm walking around the house. I'm looking for things to do because I got like this weird energy that I don't know what to do with it. Like I feel like I'm gonna explode. I have to do something. So, I would go outside and, play with dogs, or I would, go for a walk or hit a treadmill. Like I had to get rid of this energy. Um, and it just kept going, and it kept going. And like the better I felt, the more I moved around, the more I cared about doing things. About a year ago, last May, I started fishing again. And I used to fish all the time when I was a kid. And then for some reason, we moved to Florida in 2002, the mecca of fishing, and I just completely stopped. Never went fishing again. Um, but then I was like, you know what? I kind of want to start fishing again. So I went out and bought some stuff, and I did it, and I didn't catch fish for like the first month and a half. It was terrible, but I still didn't care. I just went out all the time. Um, yeah, now I just, all the things I can do just for that simple doctor's visit
Yeah.
to figure out, that I had something wrong. and nobody ever cared to look into it to see, like, what was going on. Like, every doctor I've ever been to, I pretty much always said the same thing, like, I feel, like, tired, I feel lethargic all the time. Even when I'm having a good day and I feel like I have some energy, that energy is gone within, like, 10 minutes, and I just go right back to feeling like I would always say the word depressed. I felt so
Mhm.
low and just didn't know what to do with it. And I don't know. Honestly, I think that's why I became such a sarcastic person that I am now because, like, it was the only way I could, like, cope with it. Like, I felt like
Mhm.
complete crap, so I would just, be sarcastic to people and, try to have a good time, but yeah, deep down, I felt miserable every day, like, every single day. And I'm so happy that now, I mean, I've got this energy and stamina that I basically only, like, fantasized about 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
it's incredible, it really is incredible.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, a lot of times when we talk about hormones, people think about women and our hormonal swings and everything,
Right,
which, granted is valid for sure. And we have our own hormone changes and stuff over the years. But TRT, for a man who has low, even a woman, but for a man who has low testosterone, especially that low, is absolutely devastating. So going on some sort of replacement therapy is just life changing. And I don't know why it's not talked about enough and pushed more. I mean, you could kind of make the same argument on the women's side too. I don't know if it's just an uncomfortable situation or if it really is a weight bias that when you see somebody, unfortunately, clinicians see somebody who is obese, they just automatically assume that if you lose the weight, then everything is going to be great. And they're not looking for any deeper issues that could
right,
be actually causing, the weight gain or not being able to lose weight and feel good and all of that. So I'm so glad that you found her and that she heard you. I wanted to just kind of touch on and make you feel a little bit better about the sabotaging thing, though, when you were talking about being a saboteur.
100%.
Um, yeah, I think that it's because when we struggle with food issues and overeating and using food to cope, that is our, life kind of coping mechanism, we view the food as reward. So when we have the bad day or, somebody pisses us off or whatever, our our thought is like, I deserve this chocolate cake. Like I had, like you said, how Tina said, I have a crappy day. I just want something, some chocolate,
Yeah,
some cake, some whatever. And so when that is being said to someone else who also struggles with those same tendencies, like you believe that that is true, that it will make us feel better. But we don't look beyond that immediate, I just want this thing because I deserve it. I'm feeling this way or whatever. And this is going to make me happy. We don't realize that then immediately after inhaling an entire pizza or chocolate cake or whatever, what happens? We don't usually feel great.
no,
It
we
doesn't
feel
actually
terrible.
help the situation. Right. We feel terrible. We feel guilt. We feel shame. You may feel bad if you were the saboteur in that situation because it definitely goes both ways. Trust me. We've all been the saboteur in different situations, but it never does what you think it's going to do. But for some reason in our heads, we see it as reward and it doesn't like until you actually go through a health journey like this and the process of actually being consistent with changing habits and changing what you're putting into your body because a lot of times we don't connect the dots. Our brain and our guts are so intertwined and when we eat like crap we feel like crap, And when we feel like crap, we don't want to feel like crap. So that usually puts us in a down kind of position where we're like, oh, I just want whatever it is. But we don't see the other side of that where it's just going to keep that cycle going.
Yeah.
And so when you go through a health journey like this and you actually start putting in the food that is nourishing your body well, that is actually giving you energy and making you feel good, you start to realize, like, oh, that's not actually the reward. The reward is, like you said, thinking about something else to do. Can we talk it out? Can we go for a walk? Can we go, I don't know, clean a closet or, journal, like something to process these emotions that doesn't actually involve putting foods into our body that we know is only going to make us feel crappy afterwards. So I don't want you to feel bad about it because we all do it. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still like it is to this day. I am nearly 2 decades post losing a lot of weight. And it is still my gut instinct that if I don't feel good, I want XYZ food. Like I still will be driving home from work, like, I should just swing by Publix and get some cookies or, whatever. Like, and by the way, that actually leads into, we got to give Tina her flowers here because we said how much weight you lost. If she has given you her blessing to share how many pounds she has lost, but the key here is she has lost that weight as what? What is her job?
She is a bakery manager for Publix. So those cookies that you were gonna go get, she sees and touches and smells all day long, nonstop.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I could do it. So
So
God bless her. It is amazing.
so to answer your question, she has lost a little over 100 pounds. I believe it's like 115 pounds now she has lost, which
Amazing.
is incredible. Um, but I will say this, uh, we we don't restrict ourselves at all when it comes to the things that we eat. Not for nothing. One guilty pleasure she has, and I guess I'm the saboteur again because she loves those what is that, the nothing bundt cakes, those little bundt cakes
Oh,
things,
yeah.
right? So luckily,
Oh,
I'm not a
yeah.
sweets guy. Like I don't care about those things at all, but she loves them. And like every single time she sees that new flavors come out, she goes, "Oh, that sounds good. I kind of want to get it, whatever." I literally order it. It's at the house. Like it comes to the house every time. But the it's a completely different mindset now. Like before we would get, no joke, I would order like the 8 count box, like all different flavors, all these things, and we'd probably crush those all in like, 2 or 3 days. Now we get, one bun cake and we don't even eat it, the little mini guy, we don't even eat it
Mm.
all in one shot. I literally just I went to the fridge earlier after I came back home from fishing and I was looking for something to eat, didn't know what there was. I saw the rest of my little bun cake. I was like, just try that a little bit. Way too sweet for me though. Uh, but yeah, like
Oh, so good.
it's so it's good. What kills me is the icing. I hate the icing on it. Everything else I love, but I hate the
Yeah.
icing. It's too sweet to me. I'm more of a savory guy. You put hamburgers or steaks in front of me, I'll go to town. But like I have no interest in eating like a whole cake or anything. Um, Not that I haven't, but whatever. In the past. um,
Regardless.
yeah. Uh, so yeah, what what I think works for us and what has been working really well for us is that every other, diet that we've done in the past, we've done them all. The Weight Watchers, the Jenny Craig back in the day, the keto, the carnivore, you name it, we have tried it. And they've always failed. They never work the way you think they're gonna work out. And it stinks because like it starts to work out like the first like month you're doing it, everything seems good, you're losing some weight, but then you realize that's not sustainable. Like eating like that is not sustainable at all. I don't care what anyone says. If they've been doing it for 10 years, I mean, fantastic. I'm so happy for them. But for normal people, it doesn't usually work out that way, especially somebody like me. So I'm an instant gratification kind of person. Like it is, I've realized that now as I'm getting older. When I think about something, like, I want it now. Um, Key point, Amazon. Amazon's like the
Uh-huh.
worst thing for me because I see something on Amazon, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna order it." And all the time, if anybody orders anything on Amazon, when it comes to the checkout or it's talking about the shipping, there's always an option. You can have it in 2 days for free. You could have it tomorrow for free, or you can pay $2.99 and have it here at like 4 AM.
Today.
Yeah. Am I going to be up at 4 a.m.? No. Am I going to need this at 4 a.m.? No. But I will pay that 2.99 every single time because I want to hear as soon as possible. It's stupid. It's the most ridiculous thing, but that's the way I am with food. Well, I should say that's the way I was with food. When I would think about something or I'd crave something or I had a bad day, I would need that gratification right then and there. And I would always make a decision to do it so quick that I couldn't, think about the ramifications. I couldn't think about what was going to happen afterwards. After I eat, this whole pizza, how am I going to feel afterwards? But I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the instant gratification. Like I got to get in me right now. I got to do it. But now, like, I work for Publix as well, and I walk around all day and I see all the different snacks and foods and all these great things and whatnot. I smell people's chicken as they're coming through the lines. Like, back then, if I saw something that I wanted, I would like buy it immediately and probably regret it later on. But now as I walk, I, think about something, I don't think about it as in I want to eat that now. I think about it as in, oh wow, me 2 years ago would have ate like four of those right now, but I'm good. I'm just gonna keep on walking. So but I think what really helped us is that we haven't restricted anything we eat. Like we changed a lot of what we eat. We cut down portions big time. I was probably eating enough to feed like two or three people at one point, and now when it actually becomes an argument when Tina makes dinner and she brings the food over to the table or whatever. If I look at it and it looks like it's too much, I get a little upset. I'm like, "Hey, come on, why'd you give me this much? I don't want this much on my plate."
You're calling her
Um,
the saboteur.
Now, yeah, yeah, it's her turn, I suppose. Uh, but yeah, so portions were a big thing, and then just making healthier options. Instead of having a sandwich for lunch, because even before when I was trying to be healthier and I would make my own lunches, it'd always be some kind of sandwich, meat, cheese, whatever, bread. So instead of doing that now, now I make myself salads every day. When I started having problems with my kidneys, one of the things the doctor said was, try to limit your animal protein. So I started to, cut out a lot of the animal protein, a lot of the meats, a lot of the red meats. Um, and then knowing that I still needed protein, I, would substitute, like beans or lentils, quinoa, just other things to get the protein in there, but not the animal protein, which has helped out a lot. Definitely helps out with like the stomach issues I was having and everything. But, I'm not gonna lie, like, the other day, we totally ordered Five Guys. Like, we do that knowing that, yeah, we're gonna have a cheeseburger tonight, but tomorrow, we're going right back to what we normally do every day, and I think that's really helped us because whenever we did something, like, really restrictive, we would fail every single
Mhm.
time, and, like, a lot of it was mental back then, just, wanting to do these things, but now and don't get me wrong, my weight now is like 370. Um, I still have a long way to go, but I I don't know. It's hard to explain because when I tell people these things, like when they ask me like what I ate for dinner last night, I tell them something like pizza or Five Guys, and they know I'm like being healthier. They look at you kind of weird. I'm like, you know what though? It works for us right now. Maybe in, 5 years when, I've lost more weight and the weight becomes more, it's harder to get off at that point, then, I'll probably have to change a lifestyle somewhere. I'll have to think about something different. But right now, everything we're doing seems to be working really, really well. You had asked, if we were, doing any kind of weight loss medicines or surgery. I'll be honest with you, if it was an option, I would have done it, years ago. But like our insurance actually doesn't cover it unless it's like a major thing where doctors have to get involved and have to show like years and years of all these things. And it just to me, it became not worth it, I guess. It wasn't worth the headache, even though it probably was worth the headache. But yeah, anybody who does those things, more power to you. I wish you the best. I wish that it was easy for me to, hop on and do that because I would have done it too. But unfortunately, insurance that we had just wouldn't cover it at all. They wouldn't cover anything like that. So we had to just buckle down, I guess do it the old fashioned way, which
Yeah.
it sucked for a while, but I'm so unbelievably happy where we are now. I can't even begin to say how happy we are.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Amazon because I always joke that everybody I talk to, really myself included, if I'm being honest, we all want the Amazon same day delivery on our weight loss. We
Yeah,
want to like wake up and eat a salad and take a walk one day and then wake up and be like, I'm healthy now. I'm at my goal
100%.
weight. Yeah, we did it. And I cannot tell you how often I am reassuring clients that it's okay because they feel like they should be losing weight faster. And with the onset of these medications, I personally had bariatric surgery. You know that. My listeners should know that in 2007. So um, I am always preaching using tools. But when we use those tools, the goal should not be like as fast as humanly possible. My goal when working with my bariatric clients is not to get them to lose as much weight as humanly possible within 5 minutes. It's to
Right.
teach them the foundation of a overall healthy lifestyle. The medications are a tool if we are not learning, how to improve what we're putting into our bodies, how we're moving our bodies, how we're treating our bodies. Yeah, you could lose weight, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be healthier. And if you do come off the medications, it's probably going to end up coming back on. So it is an instant gratification situation, I think, for everybody. We all want to see that right away. Like, I put in really hard work today, so I want to see a 10-pound drop on the scale tomorrow. And when we don't see it, we panic and then we get frustrated and then we say the heck with it. So, really committing to the long term and something that you just said struck me because you didn't say maybe in 6 months from now, when I've lost more weight, I may have to change something. You said maybe in 5 years from now. So you have accepted the fact that this is a journey. This is a
Yeah.
long journey. And there are a lot of highs and lows in this journey. I tell people all the time, like every day that God gives us, another day, we're still on the journey. There is no end. I think that's a big mistake that people think like, oh, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in 6 months and then life's going to be great and I'm not even going to have to think about it again. And that's how we end up yo-yoing because, like you said before, it's not sustainable. Guys, how awesome is Nick, right? I knew you would love him. And I hope that this first part gave you some inspiration that it's never too late to start making progress. Come back next week for the second part. I promise you, you do not want to miss it. Take care of yourself today because you're worth taking care of. I love you. God loves you. Have an amazing week. I'll see you right back here next Monday.